Hello everybody and welcome back. We value your presence. We'll tell a fresh story today. Let's begin. Looking back, it's strange how quickly and quietly everything came apart. I was married to Kathy for 12 years. I felt we were strong. Yes, my work was hard, especially after Dad died and I took over the construction firm, but I thought Kathy would understand. Despite the long hours and frequent travel, I thought I was taking care of Maria and our life together. I erred. I suddenly arrived home early that day and found my life had transformed. Not only did Kathy lie, she had regular relationships with her employer Ben. Perhaps our presence made things worse, had the same name, like another me was replacing me. The shock factor was negligible. I was so focused on work that I was surprised when I learned the reality. Perhaps I foresaw it but didn't admit it. Maria's death hurt more. Unlike most divorces, the prenuptial agreement was short and friendly. I preserved the business, my father's inheritance, and my assets. However, my daughter was abducted. That was my cost. Ben and Kathy married. The other one. Rebuilt their lives. Though they weren't affluent by my standards, they survived. We got along until Kathy chose to remove the last link between me and Maria. Maria's schedule was so full of things that I had to pry her out of something to spend time with her. Kathy would yell at me for being egocentric and disregarding Maria's future every time I did. Fought long. I tried to visit her to remain in touch but gave up. I could no longer oppose Kathy, consequently I gave up. I put Kathy in charge by sending a letter from my lawyer. I told her I would be there for visitation whenever they called, even though I wouldn't initiate it anymore. I wanted my 4 days with Maria each month, but I didn't want to fight, eventually become nothing. Only a few times in 4 years have I seen Maria. After she reached 18, I stopped paying child support, feeling superfluous, but I didn't have to. Decision-making was over. Maria didn't want my closeness. She was her mother's daughter forever. That was long before she dismissed me. When she became engaged, I didn't know the young man's name until the wedding invitations arrived, and none of her friends knew me. I glanced at Maria like I hadn't seen her in a while at the door, although I hadn't. Though she appeared. Despite being older and different, I could still see traits of the younger lady. She gave me a wedding card with her name, and I felt resentful and happy at once. My daughter married, but the joy was brief. Promised to attend. I would naturally. Despite everything, I was her father. Her reply astonished me more when I asked whether I should walk her down the aisle. She said nonchalantly. She liked her parents to walk her. Her parents, not her father. I don't know how I masked it from my face, but it hurt so much inside. Pops that word. It was the last proof that I had stopped affecting her life. I had to give up the role to her father, Ben, her mother's spouse. I suppose that was inevitable, but hearing it so casually as if it were the most natural thing in the world was a kick in the gut. Disputed nothing. What do I say? I nodded, said I understood, and watched her leave. Not intentionally mean. She probably didn't realize damage it caused me. However, yesterday night was everything but peaceful. I tossed and turned, reliving it. Her dad wouldn't walk her down the aisle. I reminded myself that I had made my choices and might have to live with the consequences. That didn't simplify things. I felt like I had failed at the one thing that mattered despite my efforts, successes, and life after the divorce. And now, I realized my contribution to Maria's life was merely a name on an invitation, a faded memory. I will attend. But I will watch from the stands. Another man walks my daughter down the aisle, wondering what went wrong. However, the next morning I decided to do something I hadn't thought in 10 years. Be a resentful monster. If he wants to, a wealthy man can wreck the life of a poorer man, especially if he has nothing to lose. I asked my attorney to start a flower shop network business within 7 days. I opened many businesses next to Ben. The second is business. I also instructed him to keep flower prices at half of Ben's business. By midweek next week, I wanted all stores open. I immediately called my PR division head and interior decoration department head to urge action. I wanted the media blitzkrieg to be unheard of and the businesses to shine. Next, I called my security division chief to get a groom's dossier within 24 hours. I asked my accountants for the child support check bank name. Ben possibly had a business account with them. I learned after a few calls that Ben had taken out a large account advance a few days earlier, naturally, to assist my ex-daughter Mary. That would prevent him from financing his firm soon. I called HR and asked them to employ Ben's top staff at double salary. Ben has a busy 4 days ahead. My Nevada friend was the new firm's name, registered in Nevada as headquarters. No one could link the business to me without a comprehensive inquiry, which Ben would be too busy for. The group consisted of a respectable young man with a huge student loan, also a realtor. He oversaw numerous of my building projects. I wanted to save Maria. Ben was uneven on my new store's first day. He now had fewer workers and, more importantly, clients. My company's launches, which included Hollywood stars, were covered on page 3 of every newspaper. 3 days into the game, chaos ensued. Former daughter and ex-wife were ready when I woke up. I saw Maria looked sad too. Are you talking about what? Promised to attend wedding. None of my actions annoyed Maria. I faked ignorance since I didn't understand what she was saying. You slime suckers understand. Why did you locate establishments near garbage cans? Why do you only charge half of your floral costs when you might charge more? You mean which stores? You opened bad quality businesses under your friend's identity. Steve, you didn't think I'd remember the jerk. He does poor orthodontics. Why are you acting now after a decade of indifference? Even. I knew the game was ended but hadn't broken any rules. It was my choice to smile. Why care? I can establish any business and choose any price. As a non-profit organization, I sell flowers at modest costs to the public to honor and cherish those in their life. Find anything illegal here. Sue me, Maria said first. Pops had a heart attack this morning. The current situation will force him to close within a month. You stole from him because you're rich. Everything. I hate you. How could you hurt him? You know Mom and I need him. I faced her and said I was done being angry. After years of hurt and silence, I felt sad for the first time in years. It was said. How is this different from what he did? Even if I had money and took his business. Why didn't you hate him as a kid? She said, Pops has never done a bad thing in his whole life. He never did anything unpleasant. His affair with my wife was moral. You say I'm snatching his business because I'm rich. He had time, not me, he exploited that to divide me from my wife and daughter. Why is that different? Naturally, my actions are reprehensible. He fulfilled sainthood's objective. You hate me because I denied that you and your mother relied on him. When my father died and 1,200 coworkers stared at me, I depended on my wife, but he took her. Are you not disgusted by your father? Maria looked away. Why bring this up now, 10 years later? Kathy asked more politely. I hate playing wicked for no cause. If depicted as a villain, I will be. Instead of trusting you to do what was best for Maria, I should have fought for her to the end. I should have been furious when you refused to let me see my one joy, my daughter. I decided it would be best not to destroy her upbringing by making things difficult for you. I should have hurt this slime sucker who cut me so he would be out on the streets and you would have to stay with me and take care of Maria. You should have allowed me complete custody of Maria when you refused to let me take her to France for vacation. Even though it was my time to spend the summer with her, I glanced at her with contempt. You never have time for me, Maria remarked. I needed affection badly. After you and Mom separated, I embraced Pop as my father and ignored you. Mom warned me there may be legal consequences if I refused to meet you, so I sometimes did. You would sue her, she said. Fear, not love, drew me to you. I begged her to wait while I called my attorney. I asked him to send me my old letter to Kathy. Within 15 minutes, Kathy's signed letter and receipt were faxed to me. If I didn't have time for you, read this and tell me. I have recordings of my calls to your mom wanting to meet you but being rejected. There must be hundreds of calls, including a few where you have demanded that I not schedule with you impolitely. It wounded you and your mom. What went wrong with me? One error I made was managing a business after my father died, which I knew nothing about. I accepted the risk despite my inexperience since 1,200 people relied on me to keep the firm going. Yes, I left you too for a long time. However, it brought the money we needed to survive home. You shouldn't be upset, Maria. In the past decade, I haven't supported your mother, but I've made sure you attend the best schools, school and college nearby with all the comforts you want. Really, I didn't know you gave your folks a lot of money? Your stolen money was given to them. It's true. This was theft. You got a credit card for campus purchases. Although you consistently bought plane tickets for your parents to visit you with that card, you refused to see me when I was in town. What did I feel then? I was outraged, but I didn't say anything to satisfy you and gave you the card. You liked being around your folks. That's okay. My anger was bubbling over. Maria had read the letter and was glaring at her mother with the same fury she had shown me before. Maybe I shouldn't destroy your dad's, but I will. I will vanquish him with my one advantage. He destroyed my universe with everything he had. If your mom wants a wealthy spouse after divorcing the a-hole, she may marry me. She won't be loved. But I'll give her money and attention. Yes, I need company. What kind of person am I? Take it, Kathy. The kind of lady who leaves her husband and has an affair because she's unhappy. A husband must provide his wife money and time. You left me when I brought money, not time. He will be so poor in the coming days that he will beg for money to buy a urinal pot. So he won't give you money or time. You can handle it again? Is your partner a scumbag? Who loved a hard-working father more than someone who slept with a married woman? When Kathy lost. She lost all desire to fight. In an instant, Maria spoke. Dad, may I live with you? I won't live with them who took my father. If you won't let me move in, I'll stay in a motel and seek for housing. Clearly, my marriage will fail. I won't marry someone who secretly sponsored their wedding. It's unclear if our relationship can survive this, but I hope he still loves me. Kathy now cried audibly. Maria eyed me, unsure of my choice, tears in her eyes. Maria, you may move in immediately. Your mom's stuff is undoubtedly worth bringing. Bring them over now while I talk to your mom. I turned to Kathy when Maria left. She looked stupid now that she had calmed down. At last, she spoke. Do you hate me that much? Is there a justification not to? I just wanted a normal life for myself and my child, I said, daughter. In your search of normalcy, you forgot that a dad crying himself to sleep at night because his daughter thinks he's a liar is odd. You disregarded the reality that husbands seldom go to bed feeling they let their wives down. A spouse seeing his naked wife's employer cheating is rare. Where was my normal in your apparently regular life? Because of your mistreatment, I have had no meaningful relationships in 10 years. I guess I was too self-centered to realize I was hurting you. You remain selfish and easy to get away with. Ben, Maria, you and I were involved. Ben had cardiac arrest. After 10 years, Maria lost all her beliefs. You have a wealthy, ill husband who has little time for you, and I've become a sadist. It looks you killed 4 people. I looked at her harshly, but you only have one chance to put Maria's needs first if you can think of someone else. Anything to delight my youngster. To allow Maria to marry, I will pay all expenditures. I just request that you be away on her wedding day. If you can, I'll fix Maria. She cried and nodded. I'll do anything for Maria. I should have felt bad for being such in a hole, but I was happy. I could see that her life would be miserable. I've always wanted to start a European branch, and there was a construction company in Germany for sale. Jake would be my eyes and ears there. I wonder if she thinks about it every night. About how much more of this she can take. And here I am wondering if I should stop. Should I be charitable? Should I let her live? If you can call what she's doing living. Part of me knows I could if I wanted to. I don't know what satisfaction or closure is, but I know I've won. If that's what you call it, I've taken everything from her. And yet I still feel that bitterness inside me. Should I stop? Should I let her buy that gun and end it? Or should I finally let go? I've carried this hate for so long. I'm not sure what's left of me without it.